The LA Kings don't take a step back while Adrian Kempe continues to be the king of overtime. Pay that man. That and more on this edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years. Also one of the co-hosts of Locked On NHL Game Night, a nightly podcast and YouTube show that wraps up the night in the NHL, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. The LA Kings played game 8 of the NHL season in Dallas against the Stars, a place and a team that the Kings have struggled against in recent years. This was game 2 of a 5-game road trip, and the Kings pull out a 3-2 overtime win on Adrian Kempe's goal in sudden death. Second straight overtime game for LA, and the second straight game that Adrian Kempe wins with an overtime game winner. Big picture in this one for me is after the OT win in the previous game against St. Louis, where the Kings looked a lot more like the Kings we're used to seeing, they had to make sure in the next game they did not take a step back. Now, a step forward would have been nice, but at least do not take a step back. And it was almost exactly that. Would have been nice to take a step forward, like I said, but maybe by not taking a step back, it actually is in a way kind of like it taking a step forward, possibly. But again, for the second straight game, the Kings were at least 5-on-5. The team we're used to seeing, defensively sound, not giving up high quality scoring chances. We did not see any of the miscommunications or missed assignments we've seen in some of the earlier games. The Kings played a solid defensive game and end up getting a win. So they did not take a step back from that performance in St. Louis. That was maybe their best performance of the year, but at least it was their best performance where the Kings looked like the Kings. As far as the game stats in this one, Kings get the 3-2 overtime win. They were outshot by Dallas 31-25. Power plays. Dallas was 2 for 5. The Kings were 1 for 3. As far as faceoffs go, the Kings dominated in that respect, winning 59.7% of the faceoffs to the Stars, 40.3%. Hits, Dallas led 18-14. Block shots, the Kings led 16-14. So the Kings don't take a step back. The Kings get 2 points, but of course there are things the Kings need to clean up and work on as well. It was a rather slow start for LA. Now, I would rather not see the Kings go the first 8 minutes of a game without a shot on goal, as they did in this game against Dallas. But if that's how they need to play to be focused defensively, if that's what they need to do to establish their identity, think defense first, and we'll take our offensive opportunities as they come, that's a better option than some of the things we've seen earlier in this season with, the missed assignments and things like that. I would rather the Kings, have 7-8 shots on goal, but play really, really good defense than to get 15, 16, 17 shots on goal, but they're giving up quality scoring chances the other way, and they're not playing the way they're supposed to. So, do what you do best, and that's for the Kings is play sound team defense. And in the end, you should find a way to win, get the 2 points, and that's what they did against the Dallas Stars. As the game went on, the Kings were better in the second and third periods. They were getting more zone time. They did get outshot each period, but not outscored. And that, of course, is the most important part. Special teams did play a factor in this one. The Kings did score on a two-man advantage late in the first period to grab a 1-0 lead. Great job of the Kings capitalizing on a big opportunity and not letting that moment slip by. They had great puck movement on that two-man advantage. They had some great scoring chances, and eventually it led to a 1-0 lead on a rebound putback goal. And because of that goal, that first period had a completely different feel to it because Dallas was the better team. They controlled the pace. They had more zone time, but they didn't have the lead on the scoreboard when it was all said and done after that opening period. And I know we are going to always be critical of Jim Hiller if he does something that we think is the wrong decision. I will give him a lot of credit for the decision he made when the Kings had the two-man advantage, 35 seconds late in the opening period. He called the timeout, got everybody together, got off the little dry erase board, make sure everyone's on the same page, drew up a play, and he sensed that the way the Kings were playing at that time, the way the score was going, you've got a two-man advantage. It could be the moment of the game. And he decided, I'm not going to wait. I only get one timeout per game, per regulation anyway. And I feel like this is the place where I need to use it. And they scored a goal in that situation. So I will give Jim Hiller credit for taking a little bit of a risky decision, a little bit, and having it pay off. And afterwards, Jim Hiller was asked about it, told Kings insider Zach Dooley, quote, that's a big moment in any game 5-on-3. In the end, you've got to score there. You're in this building. You're not playing well. That's a really big goal, end quote. So again, the Kings head coach making the right decision in a key moment. And we know that that wasn't the case necessarily in the playoffs last year. So, we won't know if any lessons were really learned with Jim Hiller until the Kings get to the playoffs this year and get in those big moments. But I will say, and I will give him credit, that in this big moment, he made a call, ended up working out, and so you give credit where credit is due. As far as the power play for the Kings, they did have a second power play chance in the second period. Brian Dumoulin got high stick. Nothing too much came of that. No quality scoring chances. As far as that goes, the Kings continue to take too many penalties. They gave Dallas 5 power play opportunities, and the Stars scored their only 2 goals of the game with the man advantage. So that does continue to be an issue when you look at the penalties. In the first period, Darcy Kemper, the goaltender, took a tripping penalty. It really wasn't careless or malicious. He just had his stick on the ice, and the Dallas player tried to skate around the net and kind of stepped on the stick. The Kings did kill it off to keep the game at 0-0. Second period, Jeff Malott took a hooking call. Wasn't, much of a hook, but he did get his stick parallel into the Stars player's body, and the refs will call that most of the time. Dallas would score on that power play to even up the game at 1-1. Also in the second, Joel Armia was called for a high stick. That was a careless penalty. The Kings did kill it off to keep it tied at 1-1. Third period, Joel Armia took a dumb high sticking penalty. Dallas would score to tie it at 2-2. And then Adrian Kempe took a tripping call. Mikko Rantanen making a nice move around him, and Kempe kind of got into his body and knocked him down. That was not a good penalty either, but it was a huge penalty kill in that moment for the Kings, and they did not commit a penalty in overtime. So again, that is certainly the one thing I would say take away from this game that the Kings need to do a better job on, and that's avoiding those careless penalties. I want to check the defensive minutes in this one, and I thought that this was better than we have seen in the last few games, a little bit more even. Drew Doughty didn't play 26 minutes like he did the last game. He played just over 24 minutes and 1 second. Mikey Anderson played 20 minutes and 51 seconds. Brian Dumoulin, 19 minutes and 55 seconds. Cody Ceci, 16 minutes, 53 seconds. Brant Clark, 16 minutes, 18 seconds. And Joel Edmondson, 16 minutes and 5 seconds. So a little bit better. Clark's not playing 14 minutes, right? And Doughty's not playing 26 minutes. This is a little bit more, I think, of what we would like to see as far as the distribution of minutes amongst the defensemen. a little bit better. This was a little bit better. One other thing the Kings need to avoid, it's been an issue for the last couple of games. They're taking unnecessary icings late in a game. It's a small thing. It didn't turn out to be a big thing in this game, but it could going forward. The Kings need to do a better job late in games of having careless icings because, again, those things against good teams can come back to haunt you. All right, so 3-2 overtime win for the Kings over Dallas. With that win, the Kings are now 3-2 on the season. They don't have any regulation wins yet. 5 of their games have gone beyond regulation, 2 overtime, a win and a loss, 2 in the shootout, a win and a loss. The Kings are now 3-1-1 on the road so far this season, and they still have 3 road games coming up. I think I misspoke on that one. They have played 3 overtime games now. 2 of them wins and 1 loss, and also 2 shootout games as well. All right. Up next, we will look at some Kings individuals in this win over the Dallas Stars, and a couple of Kings get their first goals for their new teams. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms or in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter most. Visit Rugiet, that's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL, and you'll get 15% off your first order. That's Rugiet.com, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL. Don't forget to use the code LockedOnNHL so they will know that we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. And hockey season is here, and nothing beats being in the arena for an early season game. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a real headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump up right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated with all you want to do is just watch your team. That's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that you can see exactly what you're paying for. There are no hidden fees at checkout, and you can see exactly what your view is going to look like before you buy the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save big. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Let's get into some of the individual performances from the Kings' 3-2 overtime win over the Dallas Stars. As far as the lineup for the Kings in this one, exactly the same as we saw in St. Louis, where the Kings were able to win. Alex Laferriere still centering the top line. You still had Corey Perry on the fourth line, with Alex Turcotte centering, and Darcy Kemper again back in net for his second straight game. And speaking of Darcy Kemper, I thought he had another strong game for the Kings. Made 8 saves in the opening period. One of them, though, was what you would call a big save, as he stopped a Stars partial breakaway shorthanded when Dallas was down 2 men. That would have been a horrific goal to allow. He turned aside 14 shots in the second period, 8 more in the third. Had a beautiful glove save early in the second period on Stars standout Mikko Rantanen. The first goal he allowed was in the second period with LA shorthanded. Jason Robertson's wrist shot from the point was placed right into the top part of the net glove side. Joel Edmondson also screened at least partially Kemper on that shot. Kemper came back to make 3 big saves right after Dallas scored their first goal. And then the Kings would score to take the lead right after. So, yeah, even after Kemper did let in a goal, which wasn't a soft goal by any stretch, came right back with some key saves to keep it where it was at. Second and final goal he allowed. Kings were also shorthanded, so 2 power play goals against. Kemper makes the first save, but the rebound goes right to a Dallas player who puts it in the net. You could argue that Kemper needs to have better rebound control on that one, but from where the initial shot took place, it was in a high danger area, and he just has to do anything to make that first save and hope, he gets some support from his teammates for the rebound. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But Darcy Kemper was excellent in this game. Great to see it coming back after, being injured. Second straight game where he looks like the Darcy Kemper we saw from last season, and his final numbers in this one: 2 goals allowed on 31 shots on goal for the Kings netminder. Adrian Kempe obviously had a big game. Primary assist on the Cody Ceci goal, which we'll talk about in a minute. Kempe then capped the night by scoring the overtime game winner 37 seconds into sudden death. Second straight game, he gets the overtime game winner. His 9th career overtime game winner and team high 11th goal so far this season. Earlier on the 2-man advantage in this game, Adrian Kempe had a big hold-in on a clearing attempt just before the goal was scored in the first period on that 2-man advantage to give the Kings a 1-0 lead. I said 11 goals on the season. I meant to say 11 points on the season. That was Adrian Kempe's 4th goal on the year, that overtime game winner. Now, he did have one mistake of note. He forced a pass that led to that shorthanded partial breakaway that Darcy Kemper made the save on. But other than that, another quality performance, I should say, for Adrian Kempe. How about his celebration, though, to win the game? If you did not see it, again, they're playing in Texas against the Dallas Stars, and Kempe scores on a beautiful shot, a one-timer, and he immediately does the horns down symbol to the crowd. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what that's all about, it's more of a college football thing. The University of Texas has a battle cry called Hook 'em Horns. They're called the Longhorns, and they'll do their hands like this. If you're a hard rocker, that means something else. But this is Hook 'em Horns, and their opponents will do the horns down to mock them. And so Adrian Kempe did that after scoring his overtime game winner. That was surprising. I didn't expect that, but just shows that Juice has that little bit of attitude to him, likes to put on a show, and he certainly did, getting the game-winning goal there. And I will say it again, pay that man. Pay that man. Corey Perry scored his first goal as an LA King on the power play. He was parked in front of the net, put in the rebound, exactly what you would expect from him. He's done that a million times. And for the record, I did cheer when he scored. And I'll be honest, desperate times call for desperate measures. The way things are going for the Kings right now, not getting off to a great start, I was more than happy to cheer a Corey Perry goal to give us a lead. So I guess with the circumstances being what they are, I'm fine with Corey Perry. I've kind of gotten over it pretty quickly. Although I do have to say his nickname is the worst, the Worm. I get why they call him that, but that's a terrible nickname. I would not want anyone to call me that. But for Corey Perry, his 449th career NHL goal. Cody Ceci also gets his first goal as a King. Point shot with the game tied 1-1, deflects off a Dallas player and goes into the net. Cody Ceci back in Dallas, where he finished last season, never scored a goal with the Stars after coming over the deadline, but he gets one against his old team. So any goals from Ceci, Dumoulin, Edmondson, or Mikey Anderson, those are rare gifts. And the Kings will take them when they can get them, and when they can help you get a victory, that's just that much better. The Kings' defense in this game finished with a total of 9 shots on goal. I'd love to see a little bit more of a shot mentality from our defense from those points, get those pucks on net as best you can. Quentin Byfield, Kempe is going to get the headlines for the second straight overtime game winner, but Byfield made the game-winning play. He wins a battle for the puck along the boards, skates down the ice for a 2-on-1 with Kempe, makes a perfect pass, showing great patience. As soon as the defender made a move to cue, that's when he got it over to Kempe in a perfect position for Kempe to get off the one-timer and end the game. Also really enjoying seeing Quentin Byfield on the Kings penalty kill with his size and his reach and his skating ability. He could be a great penalty killer. And he gets as I mentioned, he gets the 2 assists in this game. He's got 8 points now on the season. Kevin Fiala, little plays that turn into big plays on that 2-man advantage where the Kings scored their first goal, Corey Perry getting it. Quentin Byfield lost the faceoff, and then a Dallas player tries to send it around the boards, but Fiala made a great hustle play to keep the puck in the zone and eventually would end up with the shot on goal, and then Perry putting in the rebound. Alex Laferriere had a goal in the second period disallowed on a high stick. I thought it was the wrong call. He was falling down as he hit the puck with his stick. The call on the ice was that it was a good goal. They then reviewed it, and then they overturned it. I did not think there was definitive video evidence to overturn the call on the ice. The ESPN former referee rules expert Dave Jackson said the same on the broadcast. Thankfully, it didn't cost the Kings 2 points, but a great deflection by Alex Laferriere. Love to see it. He deserved to get a goal on that one, in my opinion. And how about this stat for Alex Laferriere? He took 9 faceoffs. He won 8 of them. That was coming off a performance where I believe he lost 7 of 8 in the previous game. So we'll see if he can do something like that again, but that is a massive turnaround for Alex Laferriere in the faceoff circle. And that was great to see him be able to improve that quickly, that much. Hopefully that continues. We've got a little bit more as far as some stats to tell you about from the win over Dallas. Adrian Kempe spoke after the game and talked about his contract negotiations, and we have a health update coming up on Anze Kopitar. We'll do that next. You're on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action is unfolding. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team or keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It is quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, a few more little stats to pass along from this 3-2 overtime win over the Dallas Stars. Quentin Byfield and Adrian Kempe each had multi-point games for LA. For Byfield, 2 assists. For Kempe, a goal and an assist. Kempe, Trevor Moore, Corey Perry, Cody Ceci, and Brant Clark all had 3 shots on goal, tied for the team lead. Mikey Anderson and Cody Ceci each had 4 block shots to lead the Kings. Adrian Kempe led the team with 5 hits. How about Juice throwing the body around a bit? And as I mentioned, Alex Laferriere was the team's best faceoff man, winning 8 of 9 draws. Let's pass out our 3 crowns for the win. Not 3 stars. We give out crowns here because we are the LA Kings. And 2 of these players will look very familiar from the previous game against the St. Louis Blues. And that is goaltender Darcy Kuemper and Adrian Kempe. Kuemper, 2 goals allowed on 31 shots, several high-quality shots in this one, and he was very deserving of backstopping the Kings to a big victory in this one. And Adrian Kempe with another goal and an assist, and for the second straight game, the overtime game winner for Adrian Kempe. And our third crown is going to the man they call the Worm, And that is Corey Perry for getting his first goal as a member of the Los Angeles Kings. I don't think the Kings have anything yet that I've seen after wins to celebrate those wins. Like, there's something that they'll pass out to like the player of the game. Last year, it started off with that auto racing helmet. And then there's an auto racer driver who is a big Kings fan. Maybe it's the guy who's the friend of Andre Kopitar. But anyway, he like donated his helmet and they wore that for a while. But of course, then the fires happened and the Kings very smartly adopted the fire captain hat to wear and give to like the player of the game. So I don't know that they're doing that this year. Maybe it just kind of happens organically and something comes up and they'll start doing it. I don't know. Adrian Kempe did a post-game interview on ESPN Plus. The game was, for whatever reason, not on the FanDuel Sports Network. You could only watch it on ESPN Plus. He was asked about his contract situation, and he said, quote, "For me, the focus right now is just on the team and playing games. We've got so many more games coming up. I haven't really thought about that. I'm just focusing on playing. Like I've said before, I love my teammates, everybody in LA, all the fans and everything. My intent is to stay, and hopefully we can get it done." End quote. So, I mean, we're seeing how important Adrian Kempe is to the Kings. If we didn't know that already, which we should, and we probably did, I did. So, broken record as far as how I feel about this. I would have signed him a long time ago. He's worth every penny. He's the Kings' best player. You're losing Andre Kopitar next year. You can't afford to lose Adrian Kempe. Get this done. Get this done. Get this done. Speaking of Andre Kopitar, he was on the ice on Thursday, and he did take off that red non-contact jersey. He was in a normal jersey skating around. Obviously did not play in this game, or we would have talked about how he did. But obviously on the trip, still 3 more road games to go. We think we're going to see him at some point on this road trip. Maybe it'll be this weekend in Nashville. We shall see. But good news, Andre Kopitar is getting closer to returning to the ice. And I did want to mention, I was mistaken on Phoenix Copley. I did not think he would have to go through waivers again for the Kings to send him down to the AHL because he had been acquired in a trade after being claimed off waivers. But apparently he did have to clear waivers again. And thankfully he did. So Phoenix Copley was not claimed by another team. And subsequently, the LA Kings have sent him back down to play for the Ontario Reign. So happy that no team decided to claim him, and happy that Phoenix Copley will still be an option going forward should the Kings need him with any kind of goalie injuries or issues. All right, that is going to do it for today's show. For your everydayers, those of you listen and watch Locked On LA Kings every day, obviously coming up on our next show will be our fan feedback show. Be interested to see what your thoughts are on these 2 LA Kings victories and any other thoughts, of course, on the Kings. And then we will have a Saturday show coming up to recap the Kings Predators game in Nashville coming up on Saturday. If you want to react to any of the shows we've had so far this week or anything that's been going on with the LA Kings, you want to send an email in for the feedback show. The email address is lockedoneddie@gmail.com, EDDIE. You can always leave your comments if you're watching on YouTube in the comments section. We would love you to stay interactive with the show on social media, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're at Locked On LA Kings. And if you want some exclusive Kings content, you can shoot me an email, lakingsextra@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to pass on the information regarding that. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thanks for listening and watching Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you next time. And as always, go Kings, go.